Aloha, it's Dave Lawrence. How are you? I hope you're happy and healthy, and I appreciate you joining me as we welcome back a celebrated songwriter and guitarist, producer, a visionary musician who shared his gift of music with the world professionally for over 40 years, the last 30 of which were at the helm of one of the all-time great rock brand names. Returning to the islands after a successful visit last year, he and his group will ring in the new year at the Sheraton Waikiki. Get tickets at Ticketmaster.com. It is a treat I am grateful for to bring you the legendary founder and guitarist of Foreigner, my friend Mick Jones. Aloha, Brother Mick, and a big mahalo.
Hey, how are you, man?
Good talking to you again. Thank you for taking some time for me.
Oh, no problem.
And congrats on the recent release of No End in Sight, the very best of Foreigner. Which also included, I think this is the first new material to be done in the studio with Kelly Hansen, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
How did that go?
Well, it was great. It was the beginning of what has now become the start of a new album, and I'm currently in LA. I've been writing with the band for about the last 2 or 3 weeks, and we're aiming for a new studio album to come out by around May of next year. So that was the song, really, Too Late.
Correct.
The name of it, that really set the ball rolling.
So it was coming up around that one tune, and you did it with the intention of just putting it on the very best of, and those sessions sort of, they led to this talk of the record?
Yeah, well, it was part of what was the No End in Sight, to introduce the fact that it was the first recording, especially with the new band, and just wanted to, give the audience a taste of what was to come.
Yeah, great way to title it like that.
Yeah.
And, it brings the past together with the future, not unlike the way many other bands do that, and it is a cool way, but you have, as you've pointed out wisely, you've titled it with a great... was that your idea?
Well, it was just, I felt that it was time that we gave some sign of wanting to make the band current, and just give our fans some really good new music to add to their collections, and I'm certainly excited about writing new material. It's a new breath of fresh air, and it's coming along great. And obviously I want to keep some of the identity of Foreigner in there. It's not going to be a brand new change of direction or anything, but we have a few exciting ideas down already, and I think it's going to be a really interesting album.
Yeah, tell me about these sessions. So what does the material sound like? How many tunes are there? And describe some of them, if you will. I'm curious.
Well, it's a little early for that at this point. There's just a bunch of ideas. I think we've got about 20 songs that have been written. And they vary, from rock through mid-tempo, a couple of ballads, and it's, as you know, it's very hard to really, with the state of radio and the record business these days. I think it's vital that you really, we're aiming for as strong as we can be.
Sure.
And obviously, when we have the songs more established, we'll probably start trying them out on stage, but it's going to be powerful. That's the feeling that I'm getting at this point.
Oh, I love hearing that kind of talk, and you have that leads me to wonder. You talk about trying them out on stage. You have a PBS Soundstage that's airing on January 22nd, which is certainly a great vehicle for artists to reach new audiences potentially. When was that recorded?
That was recorded about 5 months ago.
Tell me about it.
It was in Chicago, where it's filmed normally in the studio, and it's this kind of thing that we did. I think we did about 20 songs, and then out of those songs we chose, what would make up an hour's TV show. And then eventually, we'll probably release some of the songs that were not included on that. So it was a very well-produced environment, and there was a live audience, and we just reeled them off, And I think the audience was like flabbergasted at the end how many hits they'd heard that night, and songs that they'd forgotten perhaps were ours, and we went through a whole gamut. We were there for a long time, and but it was a great atmosphere, and well, you'll see it on PBS. It's I'm quite happy with it.
Oh, that's great to hear.
I think it captures the excitement of the band.
So they made you feel comfortable, and you were able to really loosen up and do it.
Yeah.
Oh, we love hearing that. Was there a Star Rider jam going on?
It was, yeah.
Good stuff. And did you move things around for that, or was it the typical Foreigner set?
Well, it's ended up being a condensed sort of regular set.
I know what they're going to show on TV is condensed, but of the 20 that you laid out, was that basically similar to what we had seen when you visited the islands last?
Yes, probably with the exception that we've now included the single "Too Late" in the set.
Nice.
And so that gives a little freshness to the set. I think we were already doing an acoustic version of "Say You Will" when we came last time.
Yep, you were. That was nice.
And we obviously still do that. And we have a few things that we change from time to time. We add for an old song that we haven't played for a while in there.
You have there's so much, as you say, and a lot of people, the reaction is when you see Foreigners, you're like, oh yeah, they did that too. For so many fans, they don't realize the broad, because you hit so many formats as it was, were in radio. You covered your bases in that kind of way. Something I'm sure fans of the band are curious about as you come back through the islands is that Jason Bonham is not in the group anymore. Tell me about his departure and how that came about.
Well, it was basically, it came about at the time when, Zeppelin reformed for the show in London. And
which you were brilliant at, the Met show. I actually attended that, by the way.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I flew all the way from here. I had a listener give me the chance to take their extra ticket and go with them. And I know you were on a tight schedule because I was talking with Phil, and there was just no way to get an interview with you because you were just a really busy boy. But I was proud of you, man. You slammed it. It was a great moment for you.
Yeah, it was. It was really. And obviously Jason, idolized his father, and it was a childhood dream to someday maybe
be his father,
take that seat,
Yeah.
And so he's been working with Jimmy Page, and I talk to him from time to time, but we don't really talk about what's going on. I don't really quite know what the situation is there.
You don't think they'd tour without Robert Plant and call it Led Zeppelin?
At the end of the day, I have to think not. Yeah, they've been so. They never reformed again after John Bonham died.
Correct.
And I think they have certain principles, and
something nice about that, isn't it?
I guess there is. Yeah, I mean, obviously there's millions of fans that would like to see them. Just by the demand for tickets alone on that one show. Sure.
But there is something nice, and you agree that that legacy is largely intact because of the sort of maneuvering that they've avoided, that because of Robert Plant's resistance, whatever it's been through the years. I sort of like it that they've never come out with a.
Yeah, well, it's such classic stuff, and they're all a very integral part of the band.
That's right.
And
had you gotten to know John Bonham at all when he was alive?
No, I didn't. I knew John Paul Jones from earlier on, before the band was formed. I knew Jimmy Page also that long, and in the last 10 years, I'd say I've had a sort of a friendship with Robert.
Okay, so just
we've both been on the same label for a number of years. And together between us, I think we've probably sold more than any other act in the world ever. So I know they've probably alone sold about twice the amount we have, and we're somewhere around 65 million at this point. So
it was such a great moment. You guys were the last thing before Zeppelin got rolled out at the O2. Yeah. It was just like, what great billing, Mick.
Yeah.
To come on, like, just moments before they hit the stage. I mean, did you stick around and watch that?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I mean, what a great and it was so well assembled. So who's back in the band now on drums?
Well, at the moment we have Brian Head. He's a drummer from Los Angeles. He was a little discovery, actually, and the band's sounding back to its intensity again, and so it's not out of the question that Jason might return at some point.
Yeah, that was really where I was always curious, because he seemed like such a great, like, you guys, you seemed to get along great. You had such a chemistry. He added a lot to the band. I'm just thinking, if he's not doing something else, why he wouldn't be in Farner, because it seemed like such a great gig for him.
Yeah. Well, things just take their own route in life, and you never really know what's going to happen from one moment to the next, but I wouldn't rule it out at this point. So.
And what about the producing and other side of you that that fans, people who really dig a little deeper, who appreciate your work, know that you've done some remarkable things with other artists, and I don't think people have maybe heard you talk about it as much. Can you talk a little bit about how you got to know Billy Joel and ended up doing things with him?
Well, Billy called me up before he was starting out to prepare the album, and I think he was maybe impressed with my track record of producing, self-producing the albums that we had done to that point. Mm-hmm. And probably the fact that I was also a songwriter, and I think he respected the body of music that I had written, and I think he wanted somewhat of a challenge to take him higher, as it were, and it ended up as being a very successful combination.
Oh, very successful. I mean, is it rewarding to you to look at that experience as part of your repertoire?
Oh yeah, very much so. It's interesting to really go into somebody else's world, and it just makes it's a learning experience, and I love to do that.
Well, finally, Mick, I just want to tell you I look forward to seeing you when you're here, and it's going to be great to welcome you to town. Hopefully we can chat when you're in town.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have some time.
Awesome. Be safe, Mick. Thank you for taking time.
Okay, thank you too.
I appreciate it. Aloha.
Aloha.